Happy Tuesday. Yes, it is another Tuesday. Special shout out to the veterans because it is Veterans Day. So thank you to all the members that served. Keep serving, keep representing our country in a major way. You guys are definitely appreciated. You see, I got my camo on. I'm representing all the veterans today. So big shout out to everyone who served and all the people who watched that served. Thank you for your service. And we wouldn't be here without you. But yes, it is Tuesday, which means another wrap up of the NFL Week 10. During this video, I'm going to tell you how I finished out with a lot of my Moneyline picks that I gave out on my Week 10 preview show. I'm going to tell you how I finished up, talk about some team successes, where I went wrong at, where I could improve at, and where these teams can be improved at as well. So, without further ado, I'm going to dive right into the Week 10 slate. Just to let you know off the bat, this week I went 8-6. Another 8-6. Last video I went at 8-6. So back-to-back weeks with 8-6, over 500. So definitely feeling good about that. But some major improvements could be made. So we're going to talk about some of the games that happened over the weekend, and we're going to go from there. So the first game was Thursday Night Football, the Raiders versus the Broncos. This was a surpriser. The Raiders, I was expecting them to get dog stumped, dog ran. But they more or less held into the game. Maybe Vegas made a couple calls. It was a short week, so I was definitely expecting the Broncos to run away with this in a bigger fashion that they did. But the Broncos still end up winning this game, which I chose. But in this game, J.K. Dobbins ended up getting hurt. And this can be a major injury for the Broncos going forward because J.K. was their leader, is their leader, their heart and soul. He was getting those tough yards. So a lot of the group work is going to lean on Bo Nix. Can he carry this offense? I don't know. J.K. Dobbins is likely going on IR. So could this be the end of the Broncos' reign? We'll see. Because that Broncos defense is tough, but I still don't trust Bo Nix. I don't know if he can carry this team, and this is going to be interesting to see. For the Raiders, Geno Smith is still trash. Should not be trusted. This need another quarterback because he actually got hurt this game, so we'll see what he looks like coming back this next week. Next game was the Falcons versus the Colts. Oh man, this was a thriller. I thought the Falcons was going to win this, and they had their opportunities to win this, but they just could not get off the field. They was giving up major fourth down plays, and he was letting Daniel Jones, he scrambled for a late one and forced the field goal to overtime, and Taylor, he just ran away with this. If Taylor does not win MVP this season, we just need to change the rules of the MVP because there's no way he should not be winning MVP. Scored another 3 touchdowns, had over 250 yards of total scrimmage yards. This guy's that dude. And like I said, the Falcons definitely could have won this game. Surprised that they didn't, but even though they couldn't contain Taylor, they still had opportunity to win this game, but they couldn't get the stops when they needed to get the stops. Next game, Browns versus the Jets. Now this game, this was another surprise. Thought the Browns was going to end up winning this, but they gave up 2 touchdowns on special teams. Like the Jets didn't do anything that whole game. Justin Fields didn't do it. I think he had one scoring drive where Bryce Hall pretty much did all the work. But yeah, the Jets they snuck one out again. This is a bottom dumpster fire team. Still not won't be leaving them going forward. Browns, they're still a dumpster fire team as well. Only difference with the Browns is they just need an alpha receiver. Potentially need another quarterback as well. But Dylan Gabriel, he's a rookie, so he's going to go through some growing pains. But they definitely benefit from an alpha. Thought they was gonna ride, or I thought Jugs was gonna have a bigger game than he did. Had less than 100 yards, but yeah, like I said, this game was surprising. Anytime you score 2 touchdowns on special teams, you're likely to win the game, and the Browns don't have enough offensive power to kind of fight that off. Next game, this was another surprise: the Saints versus the Panthers. The Saints actually played a complete game this game. You know what I'm saying? Solik and Kamara, they showed up. Solik, he had a great game. 282 yards, 2 touchdowns. Kamara had over 100 yards, over 100 total yards. So, they playmakers showed up this game. Rico, he was missing in action. He had 2.9 yards of carry. He ended up scoring a touchdown. But they stopped Rico. And that's the way to stop the Panthers. Bryce is not going to beat you. So this running game is what they really want to do. And the Saints shut that down. So shout out to the Saints for that one. I hold that L. Like I said, that was two surprising teams that won this weekend. The Patriots versus the Buccaneers. Figured the Patriots was gonna win this one, just because they're the better team. They've been riding high. Just this Patriots team is rolling, and Vrabel's looking like the coach of the year. This was a breakout game for Henderson. Had 150 total yards, another 2 touchdowns. But the Bucks is gonna be fine. They're a good team. I just think they need Bucky back. That running game has not been really popping off. So, Baker, he was cooking this game, but they just need Bucky back to bring that other element that they're missing. Ravens versus the Vikings. Battle of the same color, same uniforms. So, knew the Ravens was going to win this one. Just got a better quarterback. Looks like the Ravens is getting prepared to make a run. LJ, Lamar Jackson, he's still shaking off a little rust from that hamstring injury that knocked him out for a couple games. So be patient with him, but I still think the Ravens is going to run the table and take over that division. Whereas J.J. McCarthy, despite a decent game, he had 2 touchdowns, I want to say around 250 yards. Despite that, he's still not that guy. You know what I'm saying? He couldn't get his best player, which is Justin Jefferson, involved in the game. So anytime you don't really get your best player involved, you're not really going to win the game like that. But, J.J. McCarthy, he's a project. Like I said, this is probably this is essentially his rookie year, because his rookie year got knocked out due to injury, and this season he had some injuries where he missed time. So JJ might be fine, but I'm still not a believer in him. Wasn't a believer in him in college. And what I'm saying, I think this team will just keep being limited because of JJ's skill set. Next game, Bills versus the Dolphins. Now, this was another shocker. The Bills, they just, I don't know if they were sleepwalking and just had a high from last week when they beat the Chiefs, but they just didn't look like anything to this game. I mean, the Dolphins, they surprised everyone. But don't get it wrong, Tua's still trash. Had another 2 interception game, but the difference is Achane. You know what I'm saying? 200 plus total yards, 2 touchdowns. He's just one of the most explosive players in the NFL. And that Bills defense isn't stopping nobody. That's another unit that got some injuries. But like the Bills, like I said, I said this in my past couple videos, in my past couple shows, they don't have a legit receiver they can go to. So they just leaning on Josh Allen to make these Superman plays, and he's playing reckless. He had about, I want to say, 2 turnovers again, if not more. But yeah, this was definitely a very, very surprising. But yeah, this game showed you if you stop Cook, you can win the game. This Bills team want to run on Cook. So, anytime he's not going, it's going to lean more into Josh Allen in that passing game. And that passing game do not have any legit weapons. And I even think Kincaid ended up getting a little dinged up in his game too. So that was one of his top targets that was going. So you take away Cook, and that is your recipe of beating the Bills. Next game, this was surprising. Like the Giants versus the Bears. I had the Giants winning this one. I think the Giants would have won if Dart didn't end up exiting the game due to that concussion. And crazy enough, Brian Daboll got fired after this game. Like I just called it on the past couple shows. Like they're relying on Dart way too much. You want to bubble wrap Dart because, you know what I'm saying, he's still a rookie. He doesn't know how to protect himself, so he's still taking these big hits. And this is what happened. You know, Daboll didn't protect their franchise quarterback. This is a franchise that already lost Neighbors. They lost Cam Scatterboo, and now they're scared of losing Dart, which they're going to likely be out with Dart the next game because he has a concussion. Doubt that he's going to be cleared. Gotta be going back to Russ, and Russ is cooked. It's time for Russ to hang it up. In terms of the Bears, they showed more than magic. Caleb Williams is showing that clutch factor. That clutch gene that proved why he should be that number 1 overall pick. So, you know, shout out to Caleb. He had a really good game. Another strong fourth quarter. Next game, the Jaguars versus the Texans. Like, predicted this one. Kind of figured Stroud was going to be out. I did pick the Texans just because I said that defense is strong, and this defense showed up again. This defense kept them in the game pretty much the whole entire game, even when it was kind of looking like it was getting out of hand. This defense showed up, and it's Jaguars is just an average team, just a mediocre team that just really has nothing really going for them. You know, Trevor Lawrence and that whole offense is just average at best. And when you got a strong defense like the Texans, average is not going to do it. You need great to elite play in order to beat a defense like that. That didn't show up, and they let Davis Mills defeat them. Next game, Cardinals versus the Seahawks. Now, the Cardinals was just kind of out of this game since when the game started. Seahawks defense showed up in a major way. Had 2 touchdowns early, and they was rolling. Cardinals is just like another team, like that's in the crossroads. Like they just don't know where they're gonna head for the next direction. They need to reevaluate their talent, and figure out what's gonna work for them next year. In terms of the Seahawks, man, they just look like a complete team. Like, you know, they're just rolling. Like I said, the defense is playing well. Darnold really didn't have to do anything because, like I said, that defense was rolling. But they got 2 strong running backs. They got a solid receiving core. This is a serious team to look out for towards the playoff time. Do I think they're Super Bowl contenders? No, I don't think it's Super Bowl contenders. Just because that division is so deep, you know, I'll still give the edge to the Rams in that division just because they have that DNA. And we know when Sam Darnold come playoff time, he starts seeing ghosts. So, you know, Seahawks is still going to be a good team to look at towards playoff time. But I think this is just a regular season team. But they're gonna keep rattling off wins and keep beating opponents. All right, the Lions versus the Commanders. Kind of figured this one. Lions is a better team. Commanders is hurt all around, defense, offense, and the Lions took advantage of that. So it was really no real surprises this game. But the Lions looked like they was like this was the Ben Johnson offense, putting up 44 points. But like I said, they was playing an inferior team. A lot of defensive players for the Commanders were out. Didn't have a quarterback, so they controlled that time of possession. And Commanders just need to get healthy. But this is this I don't, in my opinion, the Lions really didn't show anything. They're just playing inferior competition. Rams versus the 49ers. This was a good game. Thought the 49ers was going to show a little bit more than what they did. I mean, I knew the Rams were ultimately going to win this because they just have the best offense in the league. Puka and Adams and McVay and Golf. I mean, not Golf. Stanford, another 4 touchdown game. So that's going to be hard to beat. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how many games in a row he had 4 touchdowns, but like I said, this is the best offensive league. You know, got an offensive-minded head coach, got that championship DNA. You know, this is my Super Bowl team. I believe the Rams is going to make it to the Super Bowl, and whoever they play, they're going to give them a tough time because that offense is potent, and this defense should get enough stops to, you know, win them a game. Towards of the 49ers. You know, this is too hurt to compete with top talent. I think with some lesser average teams, you know, saying they can win some games, but when you got a top 10, top 10 offense with all those weapons like the Rams, it's gonna be hard for an injured team like the 49ers to compete against that. The last game for Sunday Night Football, was the Steelers versus the Chargers. Now, the Chargers took advantage of a lost team. Like I said, I called this before. Steelers is Unk Nation, a lot of old players, but despite that, the defense was actually getting to the Chargers. You know what I'm saying? It was getting to Herbert, getting a lot of sacks, you know, pressures to him, moving him off his spot. It's just their offense couldn't do anything with that with those stops. But the Chargers, they just made the right plays at the right time, and the Steelers offense just looked bad. Everybody looks bad besides Warren. Rodgers was missing on rollout throws. Receivers was dropping balls. Like I said, the only good player this game was Warren for the Steelers. So I took an L in that game. But yeah, that was surprising too. Last game, Monday Night Football. Eagles win a snooze fest. This was not really much happening the whole game. Just a lackluster performance for the Eagles, especially coming off a bye. Was expecting more from their offense. But yeah, they was playing the Packers. Jordan Love is not an elite quarterback. And he showed it this game. You know, he couldn't really move the ball down the field, missing open receivers, and that's why they lost. It's not like the Eagles did anything amazing. It's just Jordan Love couldn't hit the open receivers when they were open, and the Eagles just kind of coasted off that. But yeah, that was week 10. With those Moneyline picks I discussed on my previous show, end up going 8-6, so above 500. Like to get that number in the tens in the next show. So be on the lookout for my week 11 preview show, where I'm going to discuss each team that's playing and give you my leans for that game, those games as well. But thank you once again, and thank you to the veterans for serving our country, and I'll see you on my next show.